At the start. All right, awesome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is the SONiC Workgroup Community Meeting Call. It is the 27th of September. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to be stepping in for Christina today and tag teaming for the remainder of the meeting with Chris. Let me go ahead and pull up some of the notes in the dash and begin sharing my screen here. Um, so we were able to close out, I know, a couple of issues during our last week's call. And we had some bigger updates around a couple of PRs as well. I see one just around the service tunnel inbound. Those are older notes here, but more so issue 440 to see if we were going to make the attribute mandatory or not. And then we also had another issue 441, and VJ was going to be able to look at this. But other than the ones we discussed, yes, last week or last meeting, are there any issues that have recently been updated that we guys want to start with across the board, or anything interesting you want to kind of talk about with when it comes to any updates? Know we had one here that was updated about 4 hours ago. Right. Let's see. It seems like this one, this wrong code generated in the lib side. Issue 415, we wanted Miriam to look at this one. Um,
Yeah, he commented on it last week that he's aware of it, but it's just low priority and get
mhm.
to it someday. And Camille is trying to get the code, say, compiling in the SONiC build environment and turn all warnings into errors so
Mhm.
that the code is checked more thoroughly before committing to, let's say, SONiC. And this warning issue is somewhat of a blocker for that. It's not critical, but it's certainly getting in the way of having a very hygienic code base. So
Got
I mean,
it.
Camille is raising his hand again, saying, can we close this?"
Got it. Got it. So we're really just waiting to see if we can actually close on this with Marion.
Yeah,
He's probably our last turning factor there. Okay. That could be something that I maybe take action item for to follow up with him on this, maybe offline.
sure.
That was a pretty good summary on this. I think I kind of understand where we are. I'll go back. Make sure to so from previously updated. Yeah, so we can also talk about a couple of these. But this is more so behavior model. Sci meta alpha. The lib side was also updated a couple of days ago. Let's
Yeah,
see.
there's a new PR that Camille asked me to review, so I'll be looking at that.
Okay. Okay. Is this the PR right here? All right.
There's let's see, let me see what this is. Yeah, 446 PR.
446 PR 446. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be looking at that soon. Just came out at 4 a.m. this morning, and I wasn't quite up that early. Almost.
Didn't get
No.
your first cup of coffee yet, or maybe even finish your
No.
first drink. Okay, got it, got it. All right, awesome. Um, and then a
So
lot of these are looking familiar from all the way last week, like these next two. So we had a question one day. So trying to make sure that I'm saving, differentiating the ones between these for this call and BMV2. All right, so we have another one for Miriam's review, and this is around.
yeah, Marian did respond to that one. He during the week, and he's pledged to take a look at it when he gets time.
Okay, got it. All right, so not not too big on ones that are outstanding at least. We both were able to kind of look at the projects and see that the projects are only for the other call. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears to pull requests. Again, guys, if there's really anything to kind of discuss, I haven't been bouncing back and forth between my call page, but if there's anything we want to bring up, in the
We'll
meantime, that would be,
we'll get through the
um,
housekeeping stuff, issues and pull requests and open the
mhm.
floor. And then Riff also had wanted to talk a bit in
Okay.
this meeting. So we'll give him the floor in a bit. We'll just go through the housekeeping.
All right. Awesome. Like that.
So as far
Okay.
as here we're looking at
Yep. So we're on the pull request. I went ahead and sorted it from most updated.
yeah,
Let's see here. So we have these two.
Marian.
Uh, mhm.
Marian's been doing a lot of work on that second one there. I noticed in the last few days he's done a lot of pushes.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Anything to kind of details you want to talk through on this, or it's just kind of in the works? Miriam
Let me
picked it up and has been active on it.
um I guess my question would be to Marian, um, where does he feel this pull request is? It's he's fixed. There were some lingering test and build issues. He seems to have got a clean CI run on this pull request, and
Mhm.
I'm wondering where he wants to take it. He also created a pull request into the SI repo that if you see in his comment there, says near the bottom says commented 20 hours ago.
Mhm.
Go up a little bit. Oh yeah, right there. Yeah,
Uh,
it says
yep.
no. There's one a little higher up. Uh,
Maybe I
says
was on the wrong
it says
page right here.
right there, right there, right there.
Yep.
That's it. It says IPR.
Mhm.
Yeah, I probably not reading it well because it's small on my screen. He's he's actually taking these dash schema for private link map, um, private link, and put them into the Open Compute Sci repo. That's the process, right, to manually update the Sci repo with the generated header. So there's people on this call who might find that of interest because I know there's been questions over time. You know, what's the status of the Sci repo headers? And so it looks
Yep.
like Mark opened a pull request to update that repo with the contents of these private link objects or
Mhm.
changes. So anyone's interested in following that up on their own for their what their purposes are. There's stakeholders who find that important. I know I know that Vincent has asked about that from time to time. He's not on this call. I think he's on PTO. Um, but that's something for people to take note of. So
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah,
yeah,
that's definitely something interesting for people to be able to dive a little bit deeper into. Has this hasn't been merged or anything. He just created the PR. It seems like it passed passed all the checks. There's no
yeah.
conflicts. Has this been merged already?
No, no, it hasn't.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
my
Got it.
question, Marion, would be, what is the disposition of this? Is it on hold until something happens in the side repo, or is he looking for a review? So we need to find out.
Mhm.
If you do happen to have meet with him one on one. We'll put it in the notes too. Waiting for what is the request? Because he hasn't posted any reviewers. He hasn't recommended any reviewers yet.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
So we'll ask him.
Okay. Cool. Cool. I'm gonna save that on the tab there for my notes later.
Yeah,
And
I'm going to make a note on the pull request directly and just
oh,
ask.
that'll be perfect. We get the notification too. We can add them there. Uh, redundancy's sake. Okay. This says updated 2 weeks ago. So it seems like these were our two top ones. That was good. HHN up here. Update to the SI model. Let's take a look at this. Did we look at this already?
No, that's just came out this morning. I'll take a look
Okay,
at
this is the
it.
early one. Got it.
I'll review it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would
Noted.
ask the community on the call today, are there any other, while we're looking at pull requests, are there any other people would like to bring to our attention or promote or revisit? Give people a chance to sort of ask for attention on particular things. Or does anyone want to give us an update on any of these pull requests? It's a chance for people to speak up. Okay.
It's like, what do they normally say? Do the 7-second rule.
Why don't we take a look at issues?
Yep.
So that top one there, Camille is asking for clarity on that, and Marian said he was going to look into it. He agreed it might be a bug. It's been kind of a controversial one, so that's still just pending Marian's attention.
Okay. Got a few items out there. I'll make sure that I am newest. Yes. Okay. And so any one of these other ones, some of these we've.
That one there's some clarification, and we've asked Riff and Sunny to take a look at this as well. Looking for comment.
I'm trying to see, did we create issues around these 3 weeks ago? Okay. Basically, did we ended up doing this last week, or between closing the PRs, making sure we created the issues for these? I'm not sure if Riff's on or, but
Now this one I'm not quite sure of the disposition of, but it looks like still some assignees. So
okay.
Yeah, I can take a look at this one.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. I just wanted to make sure she was just mentioning closing the PRs, make sure we at least wrap that up. That seems like an easy win, low-hanging fruit for us, just to kind of transfer it over to issue instead of being a PR. If it's not like affecting the code or something like that. Okay. Going to the third one. I think we looked at this one already. Yes, we looked at that one. I think I had that open. I think we've pretty much exhausted all of the frequently or most frequent changed
I looked at
issues.
409 there. I was just reviewing that, and since we have Camille on the call, I think we can close this issue. But I just want to double check one more time. Camille, do you feel like this issue has been resolved? Your final comments looks like we can close it. Camille, do you have a comment on this
I'm
one?
on call. Do you need my assistance here?
Yeah, on this issue here. Yeah.
Which one?
It looks like you're
409. It just seems like we could close this one out based on your most recent comment Chris was just mentioning. Recall this.
On the screen, I see the list of the pull requests. I don't see any specific requests. I don't know which one you want me to comment on.
Interesting. Okay, let me go ahead and restart. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think your screen might not have updated. Pull request 409 at the very bottom, your final comment. I'm sorry, not pull request, issue. I apologize. Issue.
Can you see my screen now, Camille?
Oh yeah, it's updated now. Yeah.
Awesome. Yep.
And
I hope that wasn't being recorded.
Give me a second.
Yep. Take your time.
So about this one, I'm not sure whether the BMB2 was already updated. Whether does it support IP address list or not? But I think the there is a small discrepancy between the dash side headers and the side headers that are in the side repo, but I think that the main issue I think here is like resolved.
Okay, so the main issue is resolved, but you're not sure if it was added on the behavior model?
I mean, so there were like two differences here. One was that there were some extra attributes which were missing in the uh, side repo, but they are already like synced. And I have some attributes in the dash repo.
May have lost you for a second, or unless you were.
Yeah, he also dropped for me.
Okay, got it. Oh, he dropped off of the.
Well, no, he's still
Oh.
here, but I'm saying that that I can't hear him anymore.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, probably offline. I'll probably end up closing out this issue and just double checking. All
Hear
right.
me, guys?
Yep, now I can. Yep, we got you back. They have dropped off again.
Well, we can just say that this one's still a little bit unclear, but we'll ask him to follow up.
Yep, exactly. That's what I was thinking as well, Chris. All right.
Mogę jakieś odchodzić, to nawet czat nie jest dostępny. Hey guys, I'm back.
Yep.
Oh.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay,
I have
good.
a
Yep,
poor
I
net.
hear you.
Like two was that there were some extra attributes in the dash repo, but the side repo is already synced with that. And the other issue was that some of the dash repo have the attributes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the call keeps breaking up. Maybe we could just pick it up on like offline, and then I'll just be able to ping you or email you, Camille. Gonna go to the next issue. All right. Was there another one you wanted to bring up, Chris, or you want to be able to kind of segue it into the quick talk Riff had for us?
Yeah, we can do that. I'll just make a last comment on this P4 DPDK on the horizon 408.
Yep, gotcha.
So, and Andy is sent an email, I guess, to the group. There was some conversation going. He's, there's more. So Microsoft did make some fixes, like several weeks ago to before DPDK backend to address the bugs that Andy had found and filed at that time. And then he ran the new dash code through it and found more bugs. In particular, I commented last week in the behavioral model meeting that the P4 DPDK backend doesn't support 128-bit arithmetic. And Andy has filed an issue with the DPDK backend folks on that. And he was thinking last week that he would try some workarounds in the dash code just as a temporary, but then he reconsidered and thought, no, it's kind of, not really a good use of time. He's just going to lobby for those enhancements in the DPDK backend. So that's still work is ongoing.
Got it. So that's a pretty good update. We were able to catch
Yeah.
something additional too. And we have some other people involved to be able to help us out with that. Just trying to make it as efficient as possible, it sounded like. Okay, cool. Got it. Any sort of comments should I leave behind this, or it should just be something we check back up on next week, or maybe even during our BMBT2 call?
Yeah, there's nothing else to add. I just basically said what Andy wrote here.
Okay.
In my own word.
Got it. Okay, cool. That works. I'm gonna keep that one up as well. Try to keep all the ones we discussed up for us. Alrighty. Okay, Riff, you there? I know you wanted to kind of take the
Yes.
floor for a little bit, and
So um, uh, basically we're recently like checking all the scenarios that are currently modeled in the Dash pipeline. And so oh, by the way, can anyone hear me?
yep, we can hear you. Did you
Yep.
want
Yeah.
me to go
Great.
to any page specifically, or did you
Uh,
want to share your screen, or just wanted to kind of talk to the group for a little bit?
I see. So, yes. So, I got a really crappy slides prepared. I'll try to prepare a talk, but it's like, no, it's too rushed. It's just like probably not that easy to make everything like more, well organized. So I
No,
gotta.
yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's all good. If you wanna share your quick slides, like I know, it just works as an outline for yourself. It's all good. Yeah, that works.
Sounds great. So let me share my screen if you don't
Yep, you
mind.
got it.
Right.
This is a safe place.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's very informal,
No one
Yeah.
here but us engineers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that you
You'll
have
see
slides,
how.
you're already ahead of the game.
Oh well. Yeah, we'll see how how formal the slides will be. It's really just some quick
So
thoughts.
far it looks
Um,
good. No spelling errors yet.
yeah. So far, it's just like read some high-level thoughts. We haven't like implemented anything yet, but probably will like put some time like really implement those thoughts, do some experiment in the BMV2 model and see how everything works. But on a high level, this is how like I'm thinking about the the updates. Okay.
Riff, can I ask
Oh yeah.
interrupt for just a moment, and maybe you could introduce yourself to the group, what your role is here. I know about you through your Sonic Smart Switch working group
Yes.
activity, but you haven't been in this particular form for very long, and maybe people would like to know how you fit in here.
Oh, right. Thank you. That's a good one. So, my name is Riff. I'm working in SONiC team, working on the smart switch stuff. Mostly, I'm working in the right now is Dash pipeline, SI, and as well as high availability stuff. So, I already published a high availability proposal, which is crazy long. But oh well, that's the things I'm currently doing. Yeah, so that's basically about me. I was previously working in a SDN team in Microsoft Azure, in a SLB team, so load balancer stuff. So if anyone has any questions about SDN, feel free to ping me. I will be available. So I'll try my best to answer. Yeah. So that's basically about me. Yeah.
And we talked about HA, just a little more background. We had an HA working group in the Dash as a Dash weekly call for some time where we hammered out a lot of initial concepts, but it's since kind of been suspended. And from my point of view, it seems like the Sonic Smart Switch working group has kind of picked up that ongoing discussion and elevated it to the smart switch realm. And if people want to learn what's going on, it's a really good place. There's been 5 presentations already, I think, by Riff in this meeting, the SONiC Smart Switch meeting, which is every Thursday, alternating from morning to evening time slots to accommodate international time zones. And his HLD, which is in a pull request, is very thorough and packed with information. So people want to get up to speed on what's going on. And a lot of people who are concerned with the implementation are already in that meeting and participating. But for people who want to just stay informed, that's a really good place. If nothing else, get the pull request and take a look at the spec. So sorry to interrupt, Riff. I just wanted to give some
Yeah,
context.
thank you so much. And of course, if anyone is interested in, I will send it to the chat window. So this is high level design for the high availability. But oh well,
Very impressive document.
thank you. So then yeah, coming back to the proposal. Okay, so basically by checking the from checking the Dash pipeline today, So the things we are thinking or how the motivation looks like is that I think so from my point of view, like Dash pipeline, the packet flow, processing flow is actually the core of the data path modeling. So it basically is and how flexible it is, how expressive it is, really limits what we can do in a data path. So and Dash pipeline today is doing actually really good job of modeling the VM traffic because essentially it is a gateway-ish style for for modeling a NIC for VM. So the VM traffic coming out as outbound, then everything goes back to the VM as inbound. So we can pretty much think it is a gateway for VM as a NIC. And then the however, there are certain behaviors in the Dash pipeline today from what I might primitive thoughts is not really that well defined and probably not that flexible enough. So if we put more scenarios in there, it seems like we probably hit some limitations, and which is why like I'm thinking about maybe some updates in the pipeline, extending what the pipeline can do will be actually be awesome. So this is more detailed, like examples. So for example, like today, VM related scenario will be actually well supported. But since like, for example, load balancing case, then we don't really have, for example, like the port mappings not there. Also, the inbound side, we don't really have the pipeline, so certain stages are missing. So it's really hard to actually model the things. And also, like for routing types today, the routing type is supposed to be a very like flexible way to model all these like actions, but today is not that flexible because the implementation, as we can see in the P4 code, is actually tied to certain actions, and those actions are not really acting in the standard way. So it's like, for example, static incap sometimes take underlay IP, sometimes takes PL underlay IP. It really depends on where the action lives in, which routing types it lives in. So of course, it also contains some Microsoft only scenarios. For example, private link. So private link is kind of I don't know, like different companies can have different implementations. Like for example, Azure supports IPv4, but AWS supports IPv6. So underlying implementation could be different. So it's not like private link equals to IPv4 to IPv6 transformation in everywhere. So that's why like those are like the motivations. I'm looking to certain updates. So basically the goal is then can we simplify the manual model for the pipeline, not like every action has its own behavior and have to like summarize for every corner cases. Also making the Dash pipeline more flexible so we can extend a little bit to fit in more scenarios. So high level concept, we're not going to change much, but it's just like tiny little changes here and there. Okay, so first of all, will be like a routing action definition. So this one, it will be great to have all these routing actions like behavior defined, well defined. For example, today, static incap, we can just we can define the action parameters, metadata parameters, which actually from all these like routing entries or mapping entries, and all the actions, what will it actually do, which which limits or formalizes the behavior of the action. So in this case, if, for example, if private link needs a different way to actually, or different destination, then we can actually put like different fields here. Oh, sorry. We can actually update the different fields here to actually make it work better. So then with the well-defined routing action, we can actually compose them into a routing type. Routing type. So basically, routing type will be just like today, it's a collection of routing actions. So you should act as a collection of routing actions. we can flexibly add routing types in any way we want by putting like multiple routing actions together and forms a new routing types. For example, today we have private link, and then we have a private link that supports like NSG and also supports, for example, Cosmos DB that supports like direction mode, which needs like port-based mapping. So then that means that the actions we put in today is going to we need more action. We need more routing types. Depends on the scenario. And once more and more scenarios get supported, we can actually see more and more routing types needs to be added. And that should not be limited by the pipeline. The pipeline should be as flexible as is. Okay, you want a routing action? Sure, here you go. So that is actually the idea. So in this case, we can see for the VNet today we have a static incap, and then say if some people will put appliances here inside the VNet, so doing some static collection or DPIs or whatever. So we can say, okay, here is a VNet appliances which acts static incap, which for the VNet, and the tunnel action, which tunnels all the traffic to appliances first. So and this is also known as UDR. And this tunnel can be implemented, can support say appliances, as well as say using that to support let's say underlay network for Kubernetes. So it really depends on how people want to use that. Okay, and then that goes to the next one is then, okay, we have the routing actions, we have the routing types, then how can we evaluate all these parameters for every routing types? So it is basically what we are currently doing today in P4. So the idea is actually exactly the same. It's just like maybe better to make it like formalized in the doc. So basically then, okay, when we start all the stages, say first stage we actually doing the match sorry, not the first stage, but let's go to the route entry routing stage. And once we go to the routing stage, we say, oh, we want to talk to this IP, and then okay, then that it lives in VNet, and whenever this VNet needs like 46 transformation, we need to like change the source IP address in this way. Then we just put it here, and then when it goes to the VNet mapping, and then the VNet mapping can actually have so this one, because this one is a destination, this one is an all right. So whenever we talk to a private link endpoint, we need to encode that one with this specific IP. Then there we go. We put a like a specific encoding here. Then with this match. So we match the routing entry, then we go to the mapping stage, match the mapping, and the whole process updates the parameters, just like metadata changes along with the pipeline. So that is exactly what we are doing today in P4. So we can actually make it like formalize as how the pipeline works. It's more like get it documented. So this is a little bit more detailed on the how the detailed algorithm looks like. So basically, it's a match the routing entry, then the mapping entries. Once the entries gets matched, then we populate the parameters as metadata. Then let it go with the pipeline. Okay. And next would be the outbound packet processing pipeline, the pipeline itself. So today, this is how the pipeline looks like today for the outbound side. So then we have 5 stages of echo here. The things for 5 stages of echo, or in my understanding, the why we have 5 stages of echo is that we can actually have custom echoes like put in certain stage, and we can have some info echoes put in other stage. However, this is actually a good idea, but this might not be enough for certain cases. For example, if we want to make sure the VM is not going to send, weird traffic to the network, after the transformation is done, for example, the wrong policies gets generated and pushed to the pipeline, is not really doing its job, but we don't know. Then what could happen is that after the policy gets evaluated and the packet gets transformed, then when it goes out of the pipeline, it actually has a weird IP look inside of it. For example, you try to access our info, or you try to the source IP is from a local IP, which is definitely should never happen. So in those cases, we need another echo stage here. However, today the info echo is actually here. So this one will not be enough for certain cases, which is why I'm thinking maybe it will be better to actually split the echo into two. One for the overlay echo, which handles like the VM side of the echoes. Another thing is underlay echo, which handles the info side of the echo, which actually it put after all the transformation is done. And of course, before the connection update. Yep, please.
Hey Riff, this is Ashutosh from Intel. So on this underlay ACL, I was just curious, do you think it would be a good idea to push this underlay ACL to the switch actually? Because it's underlay, so it's going to be done on the packet after it's been modified, right? Completely. And it will only be done on the outermost header, right?
Yeah. So I thought about that as well. The thing is that if we put it in that way, then we still will because for example, those packets should be dropped and never actually creates a flow. And here, when we do the contract update, it actually creates a flow here. So we can actually still span the pipeline and it just fills the flows or whatever. So it's kind of like a waste of resource. Yeah. If we put it here, then we can skip this stage. Yes. But that's a really, really, really good thought. Okay. So that is.
And will that be one stage of ACL, right? If you do underlay ACL, right, that will be just one stage, right? It's not like 5 stages of underlay.
Yeah, we can limit the stage, the number of stage echoes there, because it's an info echo. The idea of the 5-stage echo is that we can actually support multiple layers of a custom echo, and a custom echo actually has priorities, so we can put like in different layers. But this one is just like info echo, so feels like 1 stage or 2 stage probably is already good enough. We don't need like 5 stage there in my understanding. Well,
yeah. And one more question, right? Typically, you will bind the underlay echoes to a port. I mean, that's the most common use case. But in this case, the outgoing port, because the outgoing port on the smart link is essentially connected to switch and may not have much meaning. So you'll probably most likely bind these echoes to the device instead of binding to the port, right?
That actually is a very good idea. So I think that is how the question is more like how the device should implement this cycle, like below the side, and and the pipeline itself is still like per ENI. Well, if it is for VM, of course. So if we bind to that, then we probably need something to identify like, okay, this is the echo like enabled for this ENI. But if that is doable, it should be like flexible.
Okay. Yeah, so it's still bind to ENI. Logically, it is bound to the ENI. The rules are bound to ENI. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Implementation-wise, it's flexible. It's just logical-wise, well, at least in this case, it's bound to the ENI.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on. Okay. And the next one, yeah, I think there are like three more sizes. Sorry, it's close. And the next one is actually extra stage for introducing extra stage for like mapping the ports. So today we have routing entries, which maps do a LPM and matches a CIDR, and then we go to the VNet mapping matches IP. The things I think is missing today is actually doing the port mapping, which help us enable certain cases, for example, load balancer, for example, private link, but with like Cosmos DB, we have to map every single port to another place. So that with the port mapping stage, we can what we essentially does is that we can actually have a pod range that overrides metadata that makes the routing action, the final routing action, does different things. For example, in this case, if it's a load balancer, then for this specific port, for example, here is a destination port, is like 2000. So then if all the traffic then goes to the 2000 port, we can actually select a different pool, like to select a different tip. So that is the port mapping table that we are looking at. Okay. Then that's basically for the outbound, and then for the inbound. So today the inbound is how inbound works is that it goes to the contract lookup, then it goes to routing. Routing is a routing hash table, routing route table, which is essentially a hash table, and then it goes to echo, and then a contract update and then move on. So the things that in the inbound pipeline can do is actually like more limited than the outbound. The way it works today like this is because it fits in the winner scenario really well. However, if we thinking about more other scenarios, for example, the load balancer scenario, then what happens is that in the inbound, because VM side is outbound side, right? So all the traffic then coming from the internet to the VM, we consider them as inbound. Then in the inbound side, we actually need it to actually create evaluate all the policies. Because in this case, it will be like it's go to a certain public IPs, then go to certain ports, and if that port matches, select the port and then create a flow. So then what happens is that in this case, we don't really have those stages here. So the idea is that if we can extend the inbound pipeline, just doing the similar things as outbound pipeline, of course, the contract will be like inbound side of the contract updates. So it updates the reverse, it creates the flow, but reversely. And of course, the echoes would also be like switched because the inbound side, the underlay echo should be like putting more scenarios. So that is basically a more symmetrical design, so we can have like more flexibility there. Okay, and then final one, last one is the how we should drive in the pipeline. So today, how we drive the pipeline is basically through the routing types. And so basically, for example, here, if we matches a routing entry, then we can specify a routing type. If the routing type is a map routing, then it goes to the mapping stage. And in here, I'm not seeing anyone actually use it today, but it will be great if we can actually allow skipping the stage. For example, in here, if a routing entry is mapped, we directly go to the actions. There is no mapping stage. There is no like port mapping stage. You just directly go to the final actions and execute the like the tunnel action, which goes to tunnel the packet to a certain place. For example, in this case, we just say, oh, if we are talking to this IP range, we need to check the packet for this IP range. We need like security checks over there. So you just tunnel to appliances, and we create appliances my appliances tunnel, and then action just tunnel. So we don't need to do any port mappings here, and that should still work. But today I'm not seeing anyone is doing it, but I think it's actually great to have this flexibility over there. Okay, so that's all the slides. So yeah, hopefully it's not like too crazy, and the slides made the idea clear. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. Like I will be available to answer any questions. And really sorry, the slide is just like really high level. It's not really catching the details like really well. But oh well. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Marian, hey Marian.
Hi. Yeah, Riff, thanks. I have a question about you had slides. I didn't join in time, so maybe I missed something. But you had slides with that explain the difference between the control plane programming, like that you can define multiple routing types, essentially
Yeah,
multiple actions, and combine them together. But
yeah,
in Psi/behavioral model, you have just hard-coded combinations.
yes, yes. Then
So
then is yeah.
is your suggestion to add this ability to behavioral model to have a choice to like chain actions together?
Yeah, so then is exactly the idea. So today,
Okay.
the how the routing types gets programmed is that we just say this how should I say it? Like it is almost not hard coded, but well limited list of the actions,
Yeah.
right? As a enum, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so the idea is that if we can expose the routing types as a table to actually allow the the users to actually program it, then it is actually flexible to add those routing types. And internally, we can say, okay, then routing type, the key is just like an integer or whatever. Really depends. When we create a routing type, we send back, hey, this is the ID, and then ID just integer, underneath in the side level. But that allows us to actually extend it without changing the pipeline at all. Yeah, so yes. Yeah, hi. Hi, Michelle. Yeah,
Oh, hi, Riff. I have
yeah.
a basic question for the pipeline that you mentioned. Is this on the top of the rack, or the pipeline is on the host that actually hosts those virtual machines?
I see, I see. So that is actually a very good question. So today, the dash can be used in different places. For example, initially, or the series actually uses dash in the host. So the pipeline can run on the host, and then for the smart switch that we are currently working on, we model it as a tier one switches, which is actually one layer above the Tor. So, but different companies can have different decisions, like where to use it. For example, Alibaba actually uses can use a dash pipeline, or they models a switch in the Tor level. So yes, it's very flexible. There is no limitation. The pipeline itself runs everywhere.
I see. So let's say on the T1, T1 is middle, like it's above T0, right? It's above the top of the rack.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to put the picture in my head. How does, let's say the VNI, will get terminated at T1. How does it reach the VM then? Is it just layer 2 to reach the VM?
Oh, that is how the dash pipeline works today. Is that when we talk to the VM, it's always using the VXLAN tunnel with a reserved VNI, and that is the sorry, 1 second. There you go. So here, when the VM, the, mm, mm, this is outbound, right? Yes, yes. When the VM sends out, so here we have a tunnel. And then that tunnel is defined today in the dash doc. So if you look at how the packet flow looks like, you'll see a tunnel that is a VXLAN and with a reserved VNI. And when the VM sends the traffic to the pipeline, then triggers the VNI lookup. So I know that packet is coming from the VM. And of course, when it goes back to the VM and goes to the inbound side of the tunnel, when we talk back to the VM, we are using exactly the same tunnel with the exact same reserved VNI. So that's how it works.
So if I understand correctly, the traffic that going into the VM will always be VXLAN encapsulated. Is that
Yes.
correct? Or in some
Yes.
cases it's not VXLAN encapsulated?
Today is only VXLAN encapsulated with reserved VNI that can be specified in the API.
Okay, so then this pipeline will always be run on the host that hosts the VM then.
You can put the pipeline anywhere because as long as you have the IP, you can route the packet to the pipeline. That makes sense.
Like,
yeah.
So I just quickly wrap up this. If let's say the pipeline is on T1 and the T1 needs to reach VM, is this through the? If my understanding is correct, if the T1 is the one that terminates the VXLAN traffic, then the traffic that going into the VM will just be IP traffic or layer 2 traffic, will not be VXLAN encapsulated. Is that the case, or this
is always VXLAN?
It's always VXLAN. Okay.
Yeah. For example, in this case, in tier 1 switch, there is a bunch of DPUs there, so we can run the pipeline there, right? And then when the DPU sends out the packet will have a VXLAN tunnel. That tunnels the packet from the DPU directly to the VM. So it's IP routing. So just like any other VXLAN tunnel. So yeah, there's no difference there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
So Riff, do you want to continue this discussion in the behavioral model working group as well? This seems like somewhat of a behavioral model issue as well as an overall Dash issue. What do you propose as next steps? This is pretty this is like a big change perhaps.
Yes, step by step, I guess. But eventually, this is the thoughts, and yes. So I think that's tomorrow, right? So we can definitely like discuss more in tomorrow's meeting. And to be honest, I haven't like really it's like any prototype like working right now. So I think that's something like I need to do, and we'll have a few people like working on that one.
Yeah, the behavioral model group meets every other week, and tomorrow is an off week. So
okay, I see. Yeah, I guess I'll see next week.
Yeah, and I'm trying to understand the context. I mean, we dove right into like technical aspects, but from a let's say context, are you proposing like major changes to the overall Dash, functionality that will impact all the vendors' implementations as well? Is this like a Dash 2.0 type of discussion? It's not like a tweak, right? This is kind of let's say quite a revision.
Yeah, so I won't call it Dash 2.0 because what essentially here is that the idea is to have the routing actions like defined. But this routing actions is whatever we have already today. So it's not like so it's just like more like a well-defined behavior and without Microsoft only concept. And another thing that in the pipeline is that the pipeline itself, like it will be great to extend the pipeline a little bit to have the another extra stage, and as well as outbound and inbound side have the same capability. However, the high-level concept is not going to be changed. It's like, for example, like the outbound direction, how this works, like inbound direction, how like the definitions. All these things will not be changed. It's just like I'm seeing it more like a little bit like extension. Well, probably not a little bit, but more like an extension to the existing pipeline. And yes, that will affect the like the underlying implementation, of course, because there are more capabilities. But it's probably not enough to call it like Dash 2.0. It's probably not that big enough. Yeah.
Maybe what would help, maybe just I'll rephrase it. It would probably be very helpful to perform some kind of impact analysis, right? Not in Dash working group where we play with a model and the APIs. We define the APIs, but then how's this going to ripple through, right?
Yep. I totally agree. Yes.
Yeah, this could be, we have so much in motion. I don't even know how this will affect,
we do
working on real stuff for real money too. And yeah, we're all sensitive to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it would probably be good to figure that out.
Yeah, which is why, like, although it's probably a little bit rushed, but I feels like it's really good to actually get the ideas, head of ideas, summarize it out, and collect the feedbacks as like as early as we can. So yeah, especially like Chris, what you're saying is absolutely correct. Is that there definitely will be impact, and we like to know like how the impact would be if we model the pipeline in this way.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add here, I think the inbound pipeline is what is more extended here, and which is currently not modeled in Dash fully, right? Like we have modeled all the outbound behavior, and there is not much change there with this new proposal as well. But inbound, it's already not fully modeled, so this is. I mean, I don't think it's a lot of change on the vendor side. Yeah.
I guess there's two types of changes: breaking changes and enhancements that.
Right. I think this is more of enhancement. Yeah.
Because we have like hundreds of test cases too, and we need to understand the impact of that, or the whole thing just stops working. And, we need to figure out a migration plan. That's okay. That's evolution, but we need to do it. With our eyes open, right? A plan.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. And when we think about this one, we actually think about like the existing scenarios, like for example, how VNet traffic actually works, does it fit? And gladly actually fits. And also another one is inbound side, which has PA validation. So then one it actually also fits, because essentially what happens is just like a hash table lookup. And then a hash table lookup can be put in the VNet mapping with a different VNet. And so it's just surprisingly it can fit by providing the same capability. Then yes, and but yes, of course, like today we don't really have a proof of concept, and also it's just like high level idea, so we can actually see how large the change would actually look like.
Is there a scale impact on the tables by splitting the ACLs that you have? Maybe at least a high level view, or
I think the scale numbers is not going to be changed. It's just more like it has more place we can program. But how many things we can program, like for example, how many routing entries, how many mappings we can program, those numbers are stays the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're at the hour, and meetings. Thank you very much for this presentation. It was a lot more than hasty slide decks. Underselling yourself. We'll leave it up to you to just propose next steps on how to move this forward. I think it's a good topic. So this is a place to talk about things.
Yep, a lot of great enhancements and really great talk. Thanks again, Riff. I think we could be able to close it out here. And then before I let everybody go, Riff, would you be able to send that directly to me, the quick PowerPoint? That's okay?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yep, that would be
totally.
awesome.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna go ahead, stop the recording, and thanks you everybody for joining. If that's no more questions, we can wrap up.
Good. Yeah, I was trying to send it out, but it's somehow PowerPoint has some issues. Just sorry.